What's up, Real Talk family? We back again for another episode. Of course, I'm your man, Corey the Money Man Smith. Also in the building with me, I have the philosopher, Hyman Lemons. What's going on, Hyman?
Hey, what's up? What's up? Say, man, is it me or we don't know what season we in, Doc? It was hot earlier, now it's cold. Then it's gonna be hot on Monday. It's gonna be cold on Wednesday. Goodness gracious!
Hey man, you go outside, you got a coat on with a tank top and some rain boots on. You ready for everything, any kind of weather down here in Houston. It ain't no telling. It ain't no telling. Let's bring in, you know what I'm saying, also in the building with us as well. Of course, we have the closer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up? What's up? This is your boy, the closer, also known as your favorite real estate agent out here in Houston.
There we go. There we go.
You
know what I'm
would
saying?
have to put a shameless plug in for as in being a real estate agent.
Hey, he was.
We
Hey.
we know we all agents up in here.
So what you put
Hey,
a
you know-
shameless plug for, man?
You know, for salespeople, you know what I'm saying, it's supposed to be ABC, always be closed.
Always be closing like the
But we-
movie. You see the movie? You remember the movie with Al Pacino? Al Pacino wanted the Cadillac. He wanted the Cadillac. He wanted to win the Cadillac.
The closer be on that ABM, though. Always be marketing.
Always be marketing.
Marketing. You market, then close.
That's
Goodness
right.
gracious!
That's right. Shut it down. Shut it down.
I got you. Well, we got some good stuff we're gonna talk about today, fellas.
Good. What's on the table? I know we've all been on that Garyvee thing for a minute.
Heavy. But you know what? Garyvee always coming up with some good topics. Some topics of discussion. You may not like it, you may not agree with it, or you may agree with it, but regardless, it is a firm opinion that he has on certain different things. But what caught me by attention the other day was the fact of he brought up real estate. When he brought up real estate, obviously that perked up my ears. I'm just like, okay, well, let's see what Garyvee has to say about the state of real estate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play this little clip of how Garyvee feels about home ownership, and then we're gonna talk about it.
Let me give you something I'm hot on right now. I do not think the American dream should be buying a home anymore. I think it's full of shit.
Tell me more of that shit. I
It's
need more of
fucking
that.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a bad use of upfront capital, and it ties you up,
Correct.
and it's just not smart.
It's not gonna appreciate,
And,
not the way you
and
want it
what is it for? Like, I'm pissed that I own a home.
Yeah.
I would literally rent in perpetuity now, and I will. Like, I've decided, like, I will never buy another new home.
All right. So there we have where Garyvee was talking about it's not a smart move for home ownership. What's your thoughts on that, philosophy?
Oh wow! You want to throw it right to me?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I hear you, Doc. Now, when I watched the video, I did check him out. I did check out his some other stuff he talks about, and pertaining to that specific situation, I do agree with him as far as if you really believe in something, you really have a dream to do something, you really have a desire, and you've saved the money to do it, why not? You can always go buy another house. When's your opportunity really going to grow your dream and aspiration of entrepreneurship? You know what I'm saying?
But everybody's not built to be an entrepreneur, regardless whether they want to be real with themselves or not.
Well, the thing about that is that whether you're built to be or not, who wants to live with the regret of not knowing if they could or couldn't?
Okay.
That's what that's about, dog.
So that's the foundation of your point?
That's going to be it.
Okay. Well, what you got, closer?
Well, you know already, I completely disagree because of my built-in foundational and core value that buying a home can be the foundation of your legacy. And so I come at it this way, is I can see what he was saying in regards to, and I think every scenario is a little different, right? Every scenario, there's a lot of other factors. He can't just throw a blanket out there and think that it could, because, think about it like this. Is it different if I'm 20 or what if I'm 40? What if I got kids? What if I don't? See, the thing that I love about home ownership is that's that one piece that you got in life that is stable and it can set you as the foundation of your legacy. And really tell you the truth, if you go back to the original part of buying a house, you gotta go back way, way, way back when people was buying land and stuff like that and claiming land. It's been to the core value. That's what we built the American piece of pie on, didn't we? I mean, on home ownership.
That's true.
So I'm against it. At least on a blanket level. I mean, is there certain situations? Maybe. Yeah, and I've said that before. There's certain situations that renting works, but not on every situation. And I think really I'm probably 90-10, 80-20. You know what I mean? Maybe 10 to 20% maybe renting works,
I think a lot of people need it just financially. They need it.
I agree. I think a lot of people do need it from a financial level. I think it's important that because really, like you said, it's an asset. See, a lot of people don't understand that a home is an actual asset too. Okay, which we can go down a whole rabbit hole with that. Look.
Bad statement on that one.
look.
We gotta get a buzzer.
We know the philosopher don't agree. We know the philosopher don't agree.
Hey, the philosopher, he just looked at me like, did you just go down there? Yes, I went down that path. The home is an asset, but most people don't treat it like an asset, and most people don't really, especially the people that from different parts of my generation, don't understand that it's an asset and the value behind it.
But then now, when you go to the philosopher would say, kind of along the lines of Robert Kiyosaki, which is saying that your home is not an asset. Is that right? Is that where you get your?
That is accurate, Doc. And the reason for that is an asset actually brings you money. It's a consistent amount. Now, if you're going to say, well, when I sell it, that's one lump sum, and that is true. Now, if you try to divide that over the time that you had the house, if you had 12,000 or 20,000, and you had the house for 10, your consistent was what, $2,000 a year?
Could be. Hey,
somewhere in that realm.
But that's
but
growth,
you actually
right?
paid out. What's that? Your taxes that you don't get back. You paid the maintenance on the property that you don't get back.
Some of them people get it back. I don't know. I'm just playing.
So hold on. So if we want to talk technicality, right?
We're not talking technicality.
We're not talking technicality. We can't talk about technicality.
Because I was gonna bring the money man in.
I'm just saying. So when I look up,
hit on money man. What? Tell us about these deductions.
When I look up, hold on a second. When I look up asset as an actual definition, the definition of an asset, or one of the definitions rather, is property owned by a person or company regarded as having value and available to meet debts, commitments, and legacies.
That's right. So if you owe taxes,
define liabilities, please.
Okay, but look.
Don't just take one side and say that's it. Define liabilities. You just gave your definition of asset.
Okay,
I let it be.
I'll wait for you. I'll wait for the liability.
We let that be at that moment. But y'all, we so quick to jump when we get one definition. Get both sides, man, and understand clearly what we're talking about. Read it, man. Read it.
So don't
go 1, 2, and 3.
Let's talk about. Hold on. I'm looking because there's multiple definitions. I have to find the definition that relates to what we're talking about. Right?
Don't find one that fits.
All right. So we talking about liability. The actual definition of liability: the state of being responsible for something, especially by law. That's the definition.
Yeah.
That's Webster Dictionary right there.
How many definitions did you go down to get to that one?
That was one. That was the first one. That was the first one. That was the first one. They got synonyms and everything, or the accountability, responsibility, all that other stuff. They got the whole thing.
Oh, okay, man.
So I'm just saying, you might be losing this argument. I'm just putting that out there. You got a better argument? You want to restructure?
What am I restructuring on, man?
Restructure your argument.
Why would I want to restructure?
Well, tell me where you coming from. Tell me where you coming from,
point, Doc.
So, look, sell me on it. Tell me where you coming from.
How about this? You mentioned that the home ownership is the American dream, right?
I said in the original sense, yes, that's what it was about. An American piece of pie.
But our country was founded on capitalism, man.
Which is ownership.
No, capitalism, which is about making money.
But when it came down to it,
our country was founded on capitalism, and as you see, he did not say, as the money man did say that he got in the jump on it because he know that's true.
Look,
that's what we were founded on, and that's where he is coming from.
that was
we have
one
got
of
to get back to.
That was one of the theories that we was founded.
He wants to get back to the idea of having something when you have an opportunity that to make a bigger difference in your life, a real difference. Now you said a home is a legacy, so a home is more of a legacy than building something to give to your children, which as far as a business that will consistently take care of them for the rest of their life, the generational type of wealth, the generational type of money.
But listen to what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you at all on that point. All I'm saying is when it comes down to brass tacks, right? People want their kids to come home to something. And we can say all we want, home is where you make it and all that BS, right? The reality of it is people want to have a place that they come home to, that is theirs, that they can build on, that becomes, really something that's of value that they can pass on. I mean, look at this. Check this out. Look, talk to the Kennedys, or talk to these people that done made millions and millions and millions of dollars off of real estate. I mean, if you really go back to in the history of time, most of the money was either breaking or emerging technology or real estate and land.
But the issue is that they wasn't living in the real estate. They was buying and selling real estate, but they wasn't living in it.
They already had their piece of pie, and they was. And
if you're living in the real estate, it no longer becomes an asset. But if you own multiple pieces of real estate, that's the asset. That's
the capitalism. That's the one. That's when you turn it into something bigger than what it is or what it originally was thought of as a piece of pie.
Your boy Gary is just saying, look, man. We have got to get out of the old mindset of thinking that the American dream is the way to go. And that's the older mindset, which was pretty fly. And if you continue to stay with the older mindset, you will continue to be left behind, because it does make a valid point. In the next 50 years, people may not be wanting to own a home like that anymore.
I agree. And this is where I play off of it too, is I say, in where we are right now, okay? We have so many people in the community that don't own. They don't even understand what it means to own property. Okay? I wouldn't put them in the same scenario. Now, as much as I love Garyvee, and you know I do, that's my guy, right? But he's a $600 million man. So he can make that point, right? You go tell that to somebody that's maybe growing up on the south side of Chicago that's been renting all their life. You know what I mean? And they got an opportunity to buy a home for their kids or their daughter or their sons or something like that. And you see if they have the same perspective.
Or don't leave out the other half. They have the opportunity to buy a home for their kids, their children, and their family, or pursue a business that they have been dreaming about. You gotta say the whole statement. You can't just leave out that part to say just to validate what you think.
But this is what I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying, look, I'm not saying don't chase your dream. I'm not saying that at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is ultimately when it comes down to it, at some point you gotta have a place to come home to. Okay? And I can chase, if I'm a 20-year-old, I'm 25. I ain't got no responsibility. My son's a great example. 25, 24, 25. He ain't got no responsibility. So if he pauses on buying a house now because his dream is to become something that's in his mind that he can do, and he's got talent and capable of doing it, I'd probably tell him, hey man, you right. Go for that. But guess what? He got a house to come home to, because his parents own a house. So he can come home. That's still the foundation of the family. It's still a house in the family. So it's still a foundation for him. Now, if he never owned one, he might need to do that. Because see, this is the other thing that, at my point, that comes into play, is a lot of people make these aspirations to go do something, but they ain't never owned nothing. They've never pursued anything long enough to buy it. Your first car that you get, right? How many of us in this room remember our first car?
Every single one of us.
Did we take
The
care?
first one,
Look, whether it was a good car, whether it was a trap, or no matter what it was, we took care of that car because it was ours, and it was. I mean, it was the cleanest car. We was washing it. It might have been 10 years old. We was washing that car. That comes from ownership. I think there's a certain level that ownership plays. That you know, you really can't. The pride and the different aspects of that play a different role, an intangible piece of life.
Okay, so if you're gonna take the ownership, the initiative about it, you mean to tell me you won't have the same pride in owning your own business as you would have in owning your own home? You wouldn't have the same pride as saying, well, you know what? I don't have to go to Joe Blow to punch their clock for 9 a.m. and be done at 5 p.m. and have a set paycheck when I have created something that is going to give me tremendous amount of income that's pretty much unlimited as much as effort and energy and focus I put into it.
Mm-hmm.
So is that not a tangible ownership of something?
No, because you know what I'm saying, not everybody looks at it the same way.
But
That's just like everybody don't
his
keep their
example-
house clean the same way.
No, but his example was ownership. People need to strive for owning something.
Right.
That was his example.
I didn't say people.
I
said there are people.
That was his example was are people for ownership. And I said, okay, that's cool. But isn't owning a business give you the same aspirations?
But hold on. This is the thing. This is the thing. So let me just kind of step in here for a little bit. To Walt's point, what I do want to point out is in the definition, it does say property owned by a person or company regarded as having value and available to meet debts, commitments, or legacies, which he did say home ownership was leaving a legacy to the younger youth, whatever the case may be. So it is kind of the American dream, and it is in a way an asset because it's satisfying that you're starting a legacy for your kids, for your younger ones.
So when you start a business, is that not the same?
No, it's not the same.
Why?
It's not the same because not everybody's good at business.
But not everybody's good at buying a house.
When you buy your house, all you have to do is make your payment the same way you make your rent payment.
But the question is are you going to save the same amount of money which after he gave, which was 20% of 20% of whatever the number was, to do the same thing, whether you buy a house or start the business, and both of them achieve the same thing: a legacy and it creates a fulfillment of the dream.
And so hold on a second. You know what's cool? I agree that the business can leave a legacy, but you know what? If I was a machine maker, right? I opened a business back in the day that machined tools or items, right? Metal. That's a legacy for my kids, but my son might walk in there and he might not be good at running that business. That might not be his cup of tea. Right? Listen what I'm saying here.
That's not fair. You can't throw a speculation of a family member on something
but
when your establishment was a dream and a legacy that you're leaving.
But
that's what you're saying.
Listen to what I'm saying.
And that's what he's going to read.
But hold on.
You can't go in and say, well, he can't do this.
But listen, no.
Listen, let's leave it as what it is.
But this is not just an opinion. This is a statistic. Let's just talk about statistics for a second. According to the SBA, 30% of businesses fail within the first 2 years. 50% fails within the first 5 years, and 66% fail within the first 10 years.
That's a lot.
So you're saying that, you're supposed to take that money and go put it into the business where it's already kind of slighted for you to fail anyway, because only a small percentage of it actually fail. What about the statistics of the person that actually purchased a home and they actually default on their home? You have a greater chance of owning a home and paying that home and staying in that home and having something to show in 5 or 10 years as opposed to having a business.
And you know what? When you come home to that home every day and something inside of you is aching, because you didn't do what you really, really felt that you wanted to do.
Okay.
When you wanted to go play ball, you know what I'm saying? And you graduated and you wanted to go play ball professionally, right? Something inside of you said, you know what? I just want to play this ball. But when your life changed, you had to come back. All I'm saying is that desire on the inside is what fuels you to make that decision or to even put it on the table. to say, that's what I'm talking about. I can't beat a statistic. You're right. I can't beat a statistic.
Right.
You're right. I can't say, well, an asset is this. But what I can tell you is that we all have had a dream that we have truly wanted to do. And how many of us are sitting on our dreams today as 40-year-old men wishing that we could have did it?
That's correct.
And that's what I'm speaking of right now.
But
you gotta be able to see that.
But nobody's saying don't have a dream. All I'm saying is prioritize it.
Okay, so when you save the money, you've been disciplined enough to do it. So when is it time for the dream to take place?
But
after you get a home.
But see, and this is
That's
where
the thing.
this is where
you don't want to believe enough in yourself to do it.
Well, this is what I was saying. Because
if you save the money once, you can save it again.
So let me ask you this. Hold on. Say close. Hold on. Say
Okay.
let me ask this cat. Let me ask this cat something. When you were single, a single man out here in the streets running wild, would you make the same decisions then that you would now with a family and you got kids and stuff depending on you? Would you make the same decisions? I mean, you have nothing to say. Would you make the same decisions?
Do we want to be transparent?
We want to be 100% transparent. I'm just asking, would you make the same decisions?
You want to be transparent?
100% transparent.
I was laid off from my job at Baker Hughes. I was fired from my other job. The only thing I had with a wife and 3 children, my wife to this day can't stand the fact that I do real estate.
Okay.
I'm following my dream right now. That's why I can speak so passionately about it. And I'm 40 years old. And I just started back 2 years ago. So yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. So you can't tell me that it's not possible. The statistics say, I get the statistics. That's true. That is true. That's why I say I can't argue with a stat. You're right.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that there's something inside of each and every last one of us that we feel that if we had an opportunity, would this be different if I would have did that? Something that I really wanted to do. I can tell you that story that you told me about playing basketball.
Okay.
When you talking about playing ball, when you was overseas and you was hooping, when you was at your smallest at 225,
right,
and you won MVP of the league.
Yep.
And you had said, well, at least one person who wins the MVP of this league go to the league.
Right.
And at that time, it wasn't the game had changed into what it is now because they wasn't really looking for the 4/3, whatever the case may be.
Right.
At this, and I'm not gonna call you out on it, but I know deep down inside you like that was my opportunity, man. And what could I have done differently to seize that thing?
No. Because our decisions are different. Once we bring kids into this world, we can't make the same decisions as if we're single without kids. So you're upset. I have no regrets at all. It was a dream, but I have no regrets at all for being there for my kids and spending time with them.
I didn't say you did.
And instead of chasing a dream.
I didn't say you did.
That's where I say, you know what I'm saying, we have to prioritize. If there was a way for me to actually be there with my kid or even take my kid with me, I would have still be living the dream. I ain't got no problem with that. But all I'm saying is that when you prioritize the things that you need to do and your dreams, home ownership need to be the first one.
Well, and to add to both of y'all's point, because I get it, and I'm with you. Funny enough, I actually agree with both of y'all at the same time because like him dog said over there, you know, sometimes you got something in you that you just believe so much that you know I can get this if I just had the resources, if I just did this, if I just did that, if I just did the work would get me there, the process, the da-da-da-da. I'm with you on that. And I'm not saying that's I'm not saying it's a wrong route to not choose it. What I'm saying is very much kind of what Garyvee says at points of time is I'm saying being self-aware is if I'm 22 and I ain't got nothing to responsibility-wise, hey, what you said that I think was great was you said, okay, I wanted to be a real estate agent. I want to come and sell property. I want to do this and do that. But see, it's kind of like, have y'all ever seen that movie Cinderella Man?
No.
Cinderella Man is a great boxing little movie with your boy. I forgot his name, but
Michael Keaton, I think.
No, it's what's his name from Gladiator.
Not Russell. Is it Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe, right? He's Cinderella Man. And I don't know anybody knows. It's a true story about this boxer that was in the times of bootlegging and all that stuff. Make a long story short, he lost like Mike Tyson. He couldn't fight, right? He broke his hand couldn't fight. He was a right-handed fighter, so he was always strong on his right. Well, when he broke his right hand and he couldn't fight no more, he started working and doing everything with his left hand. So then he got a shot to come back, okay, and get one fight. It was just like one fight, right? Well, when he came back, he started whooping on this cat. But it was because he was now ambidextrous. He could do right and left. So he was jabbing and hooking and doing everything from both sides. Well, to make a long story short, he ends up getting another fight, and eventually becomes the champion. I think he ended up getting beat out by Sugar Ray back then in that time. But they asked him a question at the peak of his fight, and they said, well, what are you fighting for? And he said, well, I'm fighting for milk for my kids. He said, and it was like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, and this was during the time of the Depression when he couldn't fight and make no money. He couldn't make any money. And he said, see, I'm fighting now different than when I was fighting before because now I understand what it's like to not have milk, to not have food, to not have electricity, right? And so when you're young, you're 20, 25, 20. I mean, I remember being young. You know what I mean? You really don't have no responsibility. And from a generation standpoint, yes, go get it. I'm not saying don't go get it. If you got a dream, go get it and play it as hard as you can, as long as you can. But I think there comes a point in time when in life, and I said, my mom said this to me, and my grandfather said this, there comes a point in time where I have to change my view a little bit. And I can't, if my dream ain't making it for me where I can now solidify my kids and the family and this and that, to go with your part that you said earlier, him dog, well, real estate's making that dream that you're talking about, that you living right now, that you fighting for every day, that you come and play in very hard in, it suffice. What if you wanted to be a horseback rider? You know what I mean? And I'm saying something crazy because, you know what I'm saying? What if you wanted to be something and you couldn't, it wasn't kicking in? And you see what I'm saying? I think that you got to be self-aware enough to say, this is my shot. I need to go play hard. And then at some point you're going to change view, which maybe that's when you got to go in and buy a house, right? Because I got to have a place for my kids and my family to live. That don't mean I stop shooting for the dream or I stop playing hard for the dream. That just means now I got to work longer hours because I got to give a portion of my day to the dream and a portion of my day to what's going to keep me eating. You know what I mean? And keep the lights on.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And the idea of when you're 20, between the ages of 21 to 30, right? And he's saying, well, that's the time, or you're saying that's when the time where you just got to go chase it because you have no responsibility. We really don't become locked in until we have responsibility on our back.
I know.
We really don't become what we got to do and what we have to be until we get the responsibility. When you're 20 and 21, when you're 20 and 21, you don't have responsibility. So if I don't get up today and go chase it, okay, well, I ain't got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
But when you got something, okay, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to go all in on it, there is no not getting up. There is no taking no time off. There is none of that. It's about I'm going to do this 125%.
Yeah.
Or there's nothing. Or my children don't eat.
Yeah.
Or I don't pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You heard me say many a day, hey man, the light bill due next month. What you gonna do? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Your light bill come next month. You sitting here not calling nobody, not finding nobody to do a transaction with. The light bill is due. You gotta do that. Yeah. And when you're 20 and 25, I'm gonna go home. Like you said, I'm gonna go home and stay with mama because mama will take care of the light bill. My daddy gonna take care of the light bill. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So your drive is really not there. To a degree. Now, if you want to just speak of that quote unquote, 1% of people, 1% of youngsters who can really do it, that's a statistic for you.
Everybody drives a little bit different, and for you to generalize the fact of
y'all are generalizing it,
but I'm just saying for you to generalize that you have to have kids before you actually get locked in. What about this new generation that's coming up with all these $1 million apps? They got YouTube channels and all this other stuff where they're making millions of dollars. They're locked into their business, and they don't necessarily have kids. They're young, but they're locked in and they're serious about their business and their craft. There are a small percentage of the new generation, but to generalize it that, you know what I'm saying, you need to have kids before you lock in, that might be a little inaccurate.
How about this? Well, who did they see get locked in first? They didn't see mom and daddy punching the clock to understand that, okay, I'm going to get a YouTube channel and make millions of dollars.
I think for most people that have that golden story, they come from a single mom that had 2 or 3 kids, may or may not have gotten child support, couldn't afford the certain finer things in life. So that gave them their drive that they need to excel and do that type of stuff. So it's not to necessarily say that trait was passed down to them. Actually, I think it's the opposite. I think when the higher ups or your parents do have that trait, then the kids are able to Cadillac because they're given the necessities that they need. They've never been there where, you know what I'm saying, they're hungry and they make the determination in their head that I don't want to be in this place.
That's that 30 or 40-year-old that y'all talking about.
Well, you know, you look.
That's that 30, 40-year-old y'all talking about to say, well, wait till you this time and then you're going to try to figure out what you want to do.
You know what I think.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you coming from something or anything, you can relax. I'm going to stay at home with mom. And I'm going to just try a bunch of stuff. And then when I get tired or my pressure doesn't come from the outside world, it come from my mom and my parents because you 28 years old still staying with me. Get your... That's how I feel.
You know.
No, that is pressure. But you know what? You're talking about every bit of money that you get, go out there and get a business. You fail at the business, all right, come on back home, raise your money, go out there and get another business. No. Instead of going out there and getting yourself your own house. But now you want to say, hold up.
A house. Now you saying go buy a house. Now we're not saying for you not to have a place to stay. The question, the situation was, do I go buy a home with the capital or the down payment that I've raised? Now he said you can go and rent, which we get the trash can fire situation.
Right.
That's the trash can fire situation. So you can go and rent for 2 years, right? And let's say, and it takes your business. You want to put real number, take your business $10,000 to get off the ground. You save 15. You take the 10, I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to take my shot. I've worked a year to try to get this money. I'm going to take my shot.
Taking the shot to get a house.
The thing that I think that we can't forget is, and I go back to my original point of self-awareness. You got to know the type of person you are. Because if I know that I'm that person, think about the people that come out and go play ball, play football. There's stories that range from one end to the other. There's kids that, you know, they grew up in the hood. They fought. The pain of them going back to the hood all the way got them to the NFL, right? But then there's people that, you know, look at my man over there, what's his name for the Chiefs, and some of these other cats. There's people that they had
Mahomes.
People in their life
Yeah.
that was professional. They don't know what the hood looked like per se, but there was something else that drove them. You know, maybe it was imitating family, maybe because his parents was a professional. Maybe it's, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I have the opportunity and resources in front of me. You know, I got somebody that can teach me. I'm training at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old with professional guys, and I'm just growing with it. I think the thing that we can't forget in this whole story, in the whole thing, right? Because I think this is the key, I think, and if I was to put one thing down as the key for me, is you can't lose by home ownership. And even let's put the bad side of it. Let's say the area is declining, okay? But I own a property. How many people do we know in this world that own properties inside of declining neighborhoods? You know what the difference is? That's still their house. And God forbid if one day they pass on, their kids can take that property, sell it for whatever it is, okay, and get that money and put that into something else, maybe into that lifelong dream, maybe into something else, right? In a business, I think, and this is why I go back to why I disagree to an extent, because there's more variables that come into play, is you got to be self-aware enough to know, okay, I can put everything on the line here And if I lose big, it's kind of like gambling when I go to Vegas, right? I go to Vegas, I don't take my rent money. Okay, I don't take my mortgage. I don't take my condo. I only take what I have over and beyond that. And I take it to another level where when I go down to the tables, I leave my cards and stuff up in the room. I only take the cash that's liquid that I can lose. Because if you and there's a difference between heart and what you saying. I'm not saying anything against that because all of us got that, right? There's something in us that drives us to be the best at what we do and how we do it, right? What I'm talking about, if I'm weighing the odds, okay, that I can either, okay, I just got married, I got kids, or I don't got kids, and I got to weigh the odds. I'm 30 years old, I'm 29, I'm 40 years old, and I can buy a house or I can keep fighting for this dream. That's going to be hard. That's a hard decision, but it ultimately comes down for me is I got to be self-aware enough to know what's going on with the other variables to make a good enough decision. If I'm still single, I ain't got nothing going on, I'm going to keep playing the dream. People do that all the time. But if I got I got to have a place for my, whether, and I'll even take it back a notch, whether you renting or buying, but I got to have a place where my daughter can go lay her head and go to sleep and not be worried about if the light's going to be on, if the water bill's paid. Like I got to have something for her so she don't experience, and some of that's from history, so that she don't experience how I grew up. Well, we fought on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So I think as we get further into these generations and going on, you're going to see things. You're going to see more people take risk like what you're saying. They're going to risk longer. The home ownership might not be as valuable as it still is right now today. Today, in today's world, 2018, 2019, 2020, I think home ownership is just as valuable, and it's more for exactly what we think it's not for the numbers. It's more for the pride of ownership and those intangible things that we don't even talk about. You know what I mean? I've been at enough closing tables. I mean, I've been at a closing table. I remember the lady I was helping that came to the closing table. Her whole family flew down. We had 28 people in the room. 28 in a closing table. It was just her and her husband. And every single person in there was in tears, had me crying. And I you know me, I keeps it real. I just look, had me in there in tears. Everybody in there teared, crying out. They said no one in our family has ever owned a home. This is the first person in our family to own a home. That changed the way my view is on home ownership for the rest of my life. Just in that one, and it happened early in my career. So that's kind of where I'm coming from when I'm talking about what I'm talking about, is that pride and that ownership, and that's still alive. The problem is we don't educate enough or talk enough about it.
100%. There's no way I would actually say, I understand everybody's situation is a little bit different. You need a place to stay. You need a place for your kids to come and go, somewhere stable. But if you have the ability to purchase a home, I would say you would purchase that home first, then live the dream second. And the reason being is because it's a numbers game. When you go to the casino, it's a numbers game. You play the game that has the highest odds if you're smart. Now, majority of the time, the whole casino, every game in the casino is slated towards the actual casino to win. But when you're in there, you're going to play your odds. You're going to play where you got the best chance to win. And the best chance for you to win, according to the numbers, is going to be owning your home as opposed to a business. Now, of course, everybody seems to think a little bit different about it, but I guess that's just my take on it.
And I don't disagree with the idea of trying to play the odds. But like when you're playing against the house in the casino does have all the odds in their favor. But when it comes down to home ownership and running a business, the favor goes towards you because you are the driving force. You have it. It ain't got nothing to do with the lender, the title company. You drive that. So as much as you want it, you're gonna have it. Garyvee is a Russian immigrant. Runs a $200 million company, dog. That's drive. He just purchased his home about 10 years ago. He said it himself. And he I guess the little thing next after he got mad about it. But you got to understand, when the opportunity comes and it's on you, you're supposed to bet on you. You, not nothing else. You, because if you save the 20% once, you already got it to do it again. Because if you do it once, you can do it over and over and over and over again. That's why we're realtors. Because once we learn how to find a buyer, find a seller, close a seller, close a buyer, we know how to do it. It's a done deal. It's done. We can come in this rascal every day and sit on our watch sports all month long. But that last week, we know how to go out there and go get it because we know how to do it ourselves. That's what I'm talking about. I'm a bank on me.
Yeah, but if you think about it, there's a small percentage of actual people that know how to go hunt and go get it. All the agents that come through here, you can all the agents that got their real estate license, right? All the agents that got their real estate license, it's only a small percentage in the country that actually does business.
True.
Yeah, actually, that stat is 87%. 87% fail.
Yes, 87% fail, right?
True.
So you know what I'm saying? Again, you're talking specific about specific salespeople, specific business people. There are people out there that can succeed and have all the tools to succeed. But there are some idiots out there that just cannot make it in business, and we cannot lead them down that pigeonhole to put themselves in a bind where they set themselves back for the next 20 years. They could purchase a house in the next 20 years. They have enough equity to do a cash out refi and start a business.
Yeah.
If they start a business, who's the guarantee that they can sustain working 60 to 70 hours a week in order to get that business off the ground, in order to grow that business? Business, you have to manage people. Not everybody has the people skills to manage people. There's no skills that you need to pay your mortgage. All you need to do is go to work, make money,
auto payment,
and make the payment. There's no extra skills needed. You just need to make sure you don't do nothing dumb to get laid off from your job, and you'll have somewhere to stay. And then again, you know what I'm saying? You'll say, well, what if you rent, da-da-da-da-da? But regardless if you're paying rent or you're paying your mortgage, you got to pay somebody something.
I don't disagree with you on that, dog. My thing is this. That same person that you talked about had the ability to save the money. That's my caveat. If he can save 20%, that shows he's responsible. That shows he has some sense.
Well, here we go.
Ain't that
here
many?
We go. Here we go with this.
Here we go with this.
If he becomes a colonel in the army, he should get a free house.
And he should. And he should.
That just shows he was responsible for that 20%.
And he should.
And the one thing I will say in disagreement with you is that some people can do it once and they can't do it a second time. Some people, you know, maybe it was something in them, but then the atmosphere or environment changes a little bit, and it's harder for them to get back to do it again, right? And to go back to Money Man's point, really, as long as you go into, just like technology now, you go to the bank, you put that, once you know that's how, you know, okay, I get paid on the first 15, on the first, this is coming out, you push the button, you don't, tell you the truth, you never have to think about it. You could actually clock it out for 30 years and you would never have to think about paying unless you just shut down the bank or something. You know, you never have to think about paying it, but you would have that opportunity to cash real, you know, or any of that. You know what I mean? So I think, like I said, I think every scenario is a little different.
Okay, on the cash out refi, right? Do you think that same person that wouldn't take the chance with when he first had the money, right? That same person, when he had the money the first time and he decided to go purchase, you think he honestly is going to cash out and refi after 10, 15 years?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You know why?
He would.
I
Why?
think it's different. It's the same reason why, and we see it. And again, we're talking our generation. It's this generation.
Help me understand that same person who didn't want to believe in himself the first time.
No. I don't think it was. See, you wrapping it all around saying, well, if I didn't do it, I didn't believe in myself. That's not necessarily the truth.
The scenario doesn't change. The same 3 children, the same wife, the same everything is still there.
But what I'm telling you is the environment's going to change drastically, and more importantly, is you think that the drive or the belief in yourself isn't there because they chose not to do it the first time. I'm a firm believer that
complacency is what it's called.
Let's talk about Money Man, basketball man here, right? And I'm gonna use you as an example, Money Man.
Let's do it.
If Money Man today, right, if the situation's aligned, like he said, because his dream was to be a basketball player all his life, right, as a kid. If the things align today where his family could be with him, his kids would be with him, and everything would grow in line, and somebody walked in, the Philadelphia 76ers walked in and said, hey, Money Man, I want you to come over here, and I want you to run the 3. You know what I mean? Money Man, am I wrong in saying that if everything aligned up now, that you say, no, I really don't want to play basketball anymore. It's never been a dream of mine. You know what I mean?
To your point, you know what I'm saying? I would want to say yes, but, I was hooping with 40 and over the other day, and I broke my hand. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm quite physically there yet, but I get what you're saying. But had I been there in a physical playing position and shape, then I would say hands down. I can take my family with me.
The same thing I'm saying is you look at people that have their second careers, people that go through life and maybe the people that have been married to their sweetheart since high school and they had kids early and they got all these but then they finally retire, right? And they got this stack of money and they start a whole new career, or they go and do something they wish they done when they was younger. And they open up a whole new business. Oh, I want to make cakes now. And they go open up a cake shop. You know what I mean? That didn't mean that their drive or their ambition or the fact that they didn't believe in themselves ever changed from when they wanted to make the cake shop when they was 23. Right. They just made a decision at that time to divert, bringing my deeds back, to divert because of their circumstance. And that's what happens a lot of times when people's circumstance changes their options.
Oh, absolutely. Because then you have grown kids that are going off to college or whatever the case may be. You don't have the same pressures. So now you feel a little bit more ease, less pressure about taking that roll of the dice.
But the thing about it is this. We went from doing a cash out refi, 10, 15 years down the line to where they retired. Because your analogy came out to be where they came out to be retired. And yours came out to be where they were grown and off to college.
It depends when they buy the house.
My thing is this. It's like this. I just believe wholeheartedly when you become complacent and strapped down with your family, like how you say, the reason why you decided to get the house is because of your family. You want to have a legacy. You want to have a safe place for them. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, while you in the house, your mindset switches to be more of a gambler and say, well, okay, I'm going to do a cash out refi, get this 20 grand out of here and go do this business. I don't see that. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but the idea is that that's that same conservative person when the chips wasn't there or when the things wouldn't be, okay, he wouldn't have a mortgage. He had to pay rent. He wouldn't have to pay mortgage. He wouldn't have all these other things that he had to pay. And now go back and cash out refi, get a higher mortgage. And get more expensive, create the business again with the mortgage and everything else already in place.
So hold on a second. So you telling me that in life you never made a decision based upon your circumstances now, and you ever thought to yourself, had the circumstances been different, you would have made another decision?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with that though, dog.
But
the thing, what I'm telling you is this: you're saying that you think that this same person is gonna do that. if he doesn't think the way I think, he thinks like you.
But we're talking.
But
We're talking about specifically.
He thinks like me. I'm the only person. Here, I'm the only person here that say, "Well, look, I'm gonna go out and get it, and I'm gonna do it." Now, if I was to go on y'all route in the beginning, and in my mind, I know, okay, 10 years down the line, I'm counting down the days. I'm counting down 3,655 days because I'm gonna do a cash out refi. I'm crossing it out on the calendar because I know that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That saying you two are not thinking like that. Y'all are thinking about, you know what?
No.
I wanna just make sure my baby
No.
And I'm not saying it as a bad thing.
No.
But what I'm telling you is that the difference between you and I is that if I go that route, my alternative plan is okay. 365. I'm 3,665 days from now. I'm going to cash this bitch out and get what I need to do.
But you set a goal. You set a goal, but you prioritize that goal.
But that's the thing. That same person, you think he's going to keep that same prioritized goal? Are you going to keep that same prioritized goal because you believe that?
Yes.
You didn't say that in the beginning. You just said, "Well, I'm just going to buy home ownership and keep going, and if an opportunity come back, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go make the opportunity because that's what I want."
Well, see, I think the funny part about it is I'm kind of in between both of y'all.
Get on one side of the thing, man.
This is what I mean.
He's straddling the fence.
Look,
stop living in the gray.
This is what I mean by that.
And get in the black or the
I
white.
thought he was on my side of the fence, but you know what I'm saying? He's straddling that thing now.
Hold on, but listen to what I'm saying. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna get y'all to understand because the closer don't straddle the fence too often, and I'm trying to explain it to y'all so y'all understand what I'm saying. Is there's some parts of me that's like you, dog. You know what I mean? Where I am a risk taker, and I'm a person that's, you know, that never leaves. I was as a young ball player, I was a risk
calculated.
taker.
Calculated. It ain't a risk.
You know,
it's a calculation. So it's scientific. Scientific,
see,
baby.
hold on.
It's still an educated
But
guess
see,
because you
hold on
don't
a
know if
second.
you're gonna make it or
But
not.
hold on a second. See, I think you lean more toward the risk taker. If we at the gambling, we at the table.
If we playing poker ain't gambling because you know what you're doing. It's a skill.
But that's right. Hey,
Oh, it's gambling, all right.
but I'm gonna tell you
It's
something.
a skill.
But you know what's so funny about it? The gambler don't think he a gambler. The gambler think he's a professional, right? He don't think he a gambler, even though everybody outside looking at him saying you a gambler. He think he a professional. No, I'm a professional poker player. Okay,
Professional gambler.
so I think that what was funny about what you just said, what you saying is for you, I don't think it changes. I think once you're a risk taker, it's there, you just suppress it a little bit for these other decisions. And then once the opportunity comes back around, or once you make the opportunity, you then jump on it. You know what I mean?
How is that a risk if you calculate the idea? Well, you're right, because you never can calculate no risk. That's
you know,
calculate a risk,
but
man.
you
can't calculate all the risk out. You know what I mean?
You can't calculate all the risk out, but you can get as close as possible.
You can get close. You can reverse engineer.
all.
Yeah, you can reverse engineer.
You can't calculate all.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
You know?
But you can get the majority, but not all.
You can get a lot of it and reverse engineer back how it's supposed to go, and then adjust accordingly as situations happen. But look, I bet you that'd be a lot. Would you feel better if I was opening a business and I had $10,000 and I could open it right now, or if I had $100,000 and I could open it in 10 years? I mean, that's a big question.
That's a big thing.
And that's the difference between people.
Yeah.
You know?
And the other thing is, you know what I'm saying, do you necessarily have to go all in on one or the other? So could you actually buy a house?
You straddling the fence a little bit, money man.
But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So you know what I'm saying, can you actually buy a home and then you know what I'm saying, start your business on the side and not have to go 100% in?
People do it. People do it now.
But now the idea, if you're gonna pull out a statistic, if you're not 100% invested in the business, whatever you're doing, the likelihood of failing is even bigger.
Here you go.
But look,
it's better to go after your dream and be in a ditch than it is to have an asset and have home ownership. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm extreme one way.
That's your philosophy?
I'm extreme. I really am.
You on one side?
I'm on one side, and I stay there. I do work really hard to understand and see the other side.
Yeah,
like I see Walter sitting there. I can see it. It makes sense because it's visible. It's tangible. But am I gonna run to the other side? No, because I'm gonna stay who I am. I'm an extreme one way or the other.
So hold on a second. So you got the single mom with 2 kids that can't get child support, really hate her job, really hate dealing with the people that she deal with at her work on a consistent basis. You would say, hey, look, if you got a dream, if you got a goal, go ahead and quit your job?
Go for it, man.
We got to get out of here, man. I'm done. We got to get out of here, man. Real talk takeaways closer. Come on. Give me your real talk takeaways. I'm done with this.
You know, takeaways for this one. This one kind of funny for me.
I never heard him choke up like that.
Is the takeaways I think for this one, in my opinion, because I'm trying to look at all of what we said, because we said a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of
59 minutes of it.
We run about an hour right now.
Yeah, we said a lot. Okay. And the thing I would say to stay in line with what I'm talking about is a home is about legacy. You know what I mean? And pride and ownership and intangible things that you don't even know you feeling, like having a choice. You know what I mean? I'm renting a house. I can't paint the walls what I want. You know what I mean? I can't put that ugly gnome thing in the yard or whatever I want. You know what I mean? Like having the freedom to be able to do those things on top of having legacy, something that's going to attain value ultimately over the long haul, is a win-win scenario. That's not to say not to go out and take risks or to do that. What it is to say is I think it's more of a sure bet, or it's at least as close as you can get, than playing with the market and what you need to do. Because it's not about, one thing I say is it's great I could be an awesome cake maker, right? But if I make these cakes and I put them on the table and none of y'all like them, you know what I mean? Y'all don't like them. Y'all don't like the way the cream, none of that stuff. Well, I can't control it. I can keep trying to change it to make it better, but at some point I'm either run out of money or I'm gonna run out of ideas of how I could change it to make it work. That makes it risky, okay? All I'm saying is use the legacy and the foundation to build enough value where now I can go back in and I can take a risk, but I don't have to take as big of a hit.
And I'm reluctant, but philosopher,
Why would you?
what's your real talk takeaways, man?
Hey, why would you be reluctant, man?
I mean, because you said you've been spitting hot nonsense the whole episode. But Chip saying I'm gonna let you close it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get your final thoughts in. Give the people out there your final thoughts. Feel free to skip through if you just choose out there if you want to.
Hot nonsense, dog.
Hot nonsense.
Listen, man. When you have an opportunity to control your financial future, that is the biggest asset you got. When you have that opportunity to control it, like Walter said, if they don't buy your cakes, they don't like it, that's fine. But you got that opportunity. You don't have to worry about Lowe's saying, look, I don't need you today. We don't need your service. We can't use you no more. That's a hell of a feeling, doc. Hell of a feeling. But when you can get in there and everything you do come from that hand and that hand, and you talking to them people and you knocking on them doors, whatever it is that you're doing, and you receive that little money, and you receive the first one, it's like dope. You hooked. Hey, you keep doing it. Keep doing it. You want it'll be difficult to look back anywhere else. So when you got it, go for it. Because you can always go get that 9 to 5 to go save the money for the down payment to buy the house. There are plenty 9 to 5s out there. How many businesses that's yours, that you grew, that you did, that you nurtured? None, because you haven't done it yet. Now, if you call that hot nonsense, I don't know where you coming from, doc.
Nonsense.
Did
he just drop the mic? Did he try to just drop the mic on me?
I didn't want to disconnect.
Did he really just try to drop the mic on me?
Hold on, the mic's cost a little, man. Don't be dropping the mic.
Hey, you know nobody can see us, right? See you drop. You know nobody can see
You saw it.
drop the mic.
Hey.
You saw it.
They wouldn't have known unless we were talking about it.
You saw it. You seen it. You seen that power come out.
Hey, money man. I
You
will
had
say
none enough to call it hot nest. You better come up with that power right there.
the whole act of it was kind of humorous.
Oh, it was hilarious. Oh, it was hilarious. And look, I keep mine short and sweet. Go out and get you a house. Go get you a house first before you actually do anything else. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people have a lot of priorities. Paying bills is actually one of them. Having a safe place to rest our head, a safe place for your kids to go. If you have the ability to go out there and buy you a house, go out there and buy you a house first. Not everybody has the financial nonsense, the financial ability to go out there and start a business and just completely have no income coming in for 6 months. If you do, a year, whatever the case may be, my hats go off to you. Go do what you do. But for the majority of America out there, we actually need something to force us to have something to show in 10 years. And renting a property simply ain't it. Going against the numbers, going against the stats, going against the odds, and trying to start a business before we put ourselves first is not necessarily the best route to go, in my opinion. We out of here. Make sure you subscribe and rate and leave your comments.
Leave some feedback. Leave some feedback.
If you need to contact us or you need to send us a get in contact with us, you have a question, you have a comment. If you want to say, you know what I'm saying, I don't like what Hyman was saying on this episode, then shoot us an email at htownrealtalk@gmail.com. And then we'll be sure to get back with you. And we'll try to keep down Hyman's nonsense on the next episode. All right, we out of here. Peace.